Hey FLOSSTUBE, it's Leigh from Creatively on Sunday the 9th of May 2021 with FLOSSTUBE number 74. I'm coming to you on a very grey, miserable kind of day. Not really complaining though. It's quite nice having an excuse to not go and do anything else. But yeah, it is pretty grey and miserable. And something's going down. There's a whole lot of sirens going on. Sounds like, I don't know. Sounds like an ambulance, but hopefully that person's okay. Yesterday was a beautiful day. So Saturday was just, I think 19, 20 degrees, blue sky, no wind. It was absolutely fantastic. And today is just not that. Been a busy week at work, caught up with a few friends, did a few things, went to an exhibition yesterday in Wellington. A friend's daughter was co-exhibiting art, and she does digital, sort of quite graphic, sort of mid-century modern graphic design sort of stuff, but in a slightly modern palette. Just this really cool kind of, just cool manipulation of shapes to make interesting designs. So she had some prints, and then a number of her, I know at least one of the other exhibitors is a friend of hers who does these really interesting little pots with noses and lips sort of coming out of them. And there was some beautiful sculpture and beautiful kete weaving or flax baskets. And then I visited friends, my friends who I call the boys, Dwayne and Richard, who I lived with for a year while my house was being built, and who my cat sit for. They lost one of their cats a couple of weeks ago, so I went to just have a wee visit with them and to visit Winston in his little wee box. There's not a lot of a cat left once they've been cremated. They fit in a tiny little box, so he had come down. They found out he had lymphoma, which was, so it was just time for him to go to cross the rainbow bridge, as they say. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I did get a little bit of stitching done this week. I've got a bit of stuff come in. I bought a couple of things. I'm not necessarily going to do this in great planned order or anything. It's sort of just all here, and it will just be showing. My middle-aged excitement, middle-aged purchases continue. This week I bought a lawnmower. Borrowed my friend Dwayne's log on to the consumer, site to have a look and see what was recommended. So I bought myself a battery lawnmower, and it has been shipped. There wasn't one close to where I am, so I bought the second recommended one on the list. And I mean, if it's shit, I'll take it back. But my neighbour is after a new lawnmower as well, so I said he can give it a bit of a spin when it arrives. So it's on its way. Toll will deliver that in due course, so isn't that exciting? So I still haven't bought a vacuum cleaner because with the lawn going down in a few weeks, I need a lawnmower. Meanwhile, my vacuum cleaner is still duct taped together. I watched a couple of the more recent Modern Folk embroidery videos. I made a couple of purchases because of the videos. Oh, excuse me. Things are about falling off my pile. One that something he's recently released, and partly I bought it because all through May he is donating half of the proceeds of the chart sales, which I think is about £5. Excuse me. To hasn't decided yet, but it'll go towards charities that are helping people in India who are being impacted through the terrible outbreak of COVID. I think he said his husband was from India, and he didn't say he was Indian. He said he was from India, I think. So, but So it certainly hits close to home. Having been to India, and I can understand how hard it is for people like in Delhi or Mumbai and some of those big cities to socially distance, and just it's just absolutely tragic, the drain on the resources and stuff. It's the sort of thing that most countries have tried to avoid, is that the medical system being overwhelmed, and that is what's happened. And it's sad because those are people's families that are being completely disrupted. So anyway, I should show you the damn thing. So it's called, he also has done this, it's called A Rule of Life, a Quaker inspired design. And he was going to chart this mono. He originally had planned charting this as part of he found a little, inspired by some little children's stories or something, or little mottos and things. So bestow your alms, whene'er you see an object of necessity. So that's why he chose this to be the fundraiser. But he has charted it to work with 3 colours. He was inspired by some of the colours from Leo Roxy Yarn Company in collaboration with Evertote, which is Carolyn off the Grid Needle Arts business. And so I think at the moment, well, at least when this came out, there was some floss packs and some chart packs available on Evertote, but I just went with a PDF. I'm not going to bust my gut to get some floss from Canada. As much as it looks beautiful, I'm sure I've got something I can chart that up with, it'll just go in the stash. But so I think it uses Vampish, which is the sort of purpley black, Plum Shadow, which is a purpley colour, and Caramel. But yeah, I'll show you again. So it's very nice. I think it's really cute. It's not too huge. It is, it's average, 178 wide by 219 high. So yeah, I would stitch it on 36 or 40 count, probably 40 count, make it nice and little. It'll be very cute. So I bought that because partly I bought it, well, the reason I bought it in May is because that's where half the proceeds are going to. Good Works. It's a very small way of helping out, but it's a way of helping out. He also, one of those last 2 videos, had reminded me that I'd wanted to buy this chart. So I've seen it at a few places, Park Hopper Bart, La Musique. So La Musique et le silence entre les notes. The music is the silence between the notes, from supposedly a quote from Debussy. I think it's really lovely. It's a cute little piece, 72 by 104. I have plenty of red floss. This will be a good little project to stitch on, a bit of leftover fabric. So it'll just go in the pile. It's something I could probably whip up in a weekend easily. But I just had seen it and it reminded me that. So that one is a Park Hopper Bart. He sells through a site called Gumtree, I think. So basically it's a pay what you can, pay what you think it's worth. What else have I bought? Oh, okay, so I've had my I bought a couple of things a while ago from Teresa Kitten Stitcher that she had on her, I think they were called Overstocked section on her website. So I basically had a quick look around and I just fell in love with the Alexanders of Linrathan, 1829. So it's a Hands Across the Sea sampler, but it's just, it's bright and weird and chock full of stuff, and it's pretty cool. And it's got, I think it's got eyelets and 4-sided stitch and a few other bits and pieces. Charted for 103, Dalget and DMC. I just bought it because it was a good price. So for me, what it was discounted kind of paid for good chunk of shipping, because the shipping is what often kills you. So I grabbed that and I was like, well, if I'm grabbing one thing and paying for shipping, I need to grab another thing, because what is it? No chart should travel alone. So I picked up that just because I think it's really awesome. It's probably a repro that I would stitch and not change anything. Like I would leave all the initials and stuff in. I think it's really excellent. I think the only thing I would change would be wherever I put my initials. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like down the side here, it has John Alexander and Helen Spaden, which they think was another name, but like a common way of saying a particular name. So that's the parents. And then over here, there are all these initials of siblings, of the children, and then they believe these might have been deceased siblings. But they're kind of so random and up the side, it's quite not very legible. I don't think I'd change that. I just think it's really fun. It's fun. So I don't know when I'll stitch it, but it was a good price. And then I think this was also on discounted or overstocked. It was just a random, I threw that in as well. The Blue Flower Butterfly Garden. It's kind of a little bit weird. Some of the colours are a bit funky, so I'd probably change some of them. Like, I think that's quite dark, that butterfly there, but yeah, I just grabbed it because it was kind of weird. And I thought I might stitch it on this piece. So it's charted 40 count. It's 142 by 142, so 40 count. Yeah, so 142 square. The model stitch off 40 count dwarf from Picture This Plus. But I've got this 36 count linen that I bought when I won stuff from Fortnight Fabrics. Then I was like, well, let me, you're shipping all the way to New Zealand. Let me at least buy something. And they had just released their first collection of fabric. So I grabbed this 36 count an Electric Sky, and it's a little lighter, but I think it would work really well. And I had no idea what this is for. I don't typically love these very, very mottly fabrics, but I figured they have similar mottling to Picture This Plus. It's a similar tone of blue. Excuse me. So that'll be a good use of that, I think. So essentially, you can consider that kitted baby because it's DMC. It's all charted for DMC, or she charts for Anchor and it's a primary in DMC. But given that I'll probably just change stuff anyway, it's that sort of thing. Just use stuff out of your stash. I could even use some silks, and that's pretty much going to be kitted. So that'll just go in the pile of projects to be done. And the other thing I grabbed from her discount bin as well, again with paying for shipping, she just had these little floss tag things. They're quite, I think they're like, I don't know, they've got string on like their ornaments. No, they don't, they come off. They were just cute, and I love cats. So she had them made by, I can't remember, I don't have the details. I don't think she has any left, but I don't know what I'd use them for, but potentially, a mono project, you could wrap a whole lot of floss around it. I don't know, they're just cute. I just grabbed them because they were there and they were discounted. It's like, yeah, love a sale, but I just picked them up just to, I don't know what I'm gonna use them for. So that was just a small haul from Kitten Stitcher. And then I also had a 123 order come in, which was, where is the stuff? Oh, I forgot, sorry, Kitten Stitcher that always chucks in a free chart. This was a freebie for Expo, but so it's like, I shouldn't really say free, a complimentary chart, but it's like a vase thing with pretty plants. So you know, whatevs. Okay, so I bought, oh that's right, so I went a bit nuts a few weeks ago when I decided I'm doing this 50 over 50, starts over 50. You may recall I got Griffins of the Kingdom recently that came out at Expo. And then I also decided I needed to have Crowns of the Kingdom. So I bought Crowns of the Kingdom, and then I got all of the Petite Treasure braids to go for both charts. So as soon as I get fabric, just probably a cream or an off-white, something linen, those are ready to go. They've just got some extra black in there that I got off of a cone. So yeah, so that's new and all the sparkles. Yay. I also I also kitted up, oh, you may recall I got the Bella portraits. I got both the Bella portraits recently on a New Zealand upcycling stash page. So I had fabric, it's charted for, doesn't really matter, they're full coverage, but I found in my stash I had enough of an offcut of 32 count Belfast. I intend to stitch both one pair just with a slight gap in between and then another pair, so it's enough with a small border, like a 2-inch border. So I've got fabric for that. So what I did is I bought all of the pretty things. So it's got all the beads, and there's a couple of water lilies called for. So I just bought all that stuff for those projects. They're ready to go. So water lilies, I love this so much. Marigold, it's all pretty. And water lilies, I think it's highest, oh, wisteria. So they're, and all the beads. So that is quite cool. So those are fully kitted. So I need to work out a new system where I've got things partially kitted, and when they become fully kitted, they need to be moved from a hideous plastic bag into something more useful. But those two, so I bought all the sparkly things. And what else did I buy? That's all I've bought, I think. Oh, yesterday I've already done all the little cards. As I'm kitting things up, I'm making my little cards ready to go as well. This 50 starts over at 50 is going to be ridiculous. And do you know how hard it is for me to not start any of these right now? It's quite hard. But I need to get some finishes done. So a while ago, I may not have shown this, I don't remember. I grabbed off of Etsy. It's called, who is it by? Designed by My Treasure Island on Etsy, and it's called Antique Repeat Motif Borders Sampler. And the mock-up looks like this, and it's mocked up to stitch as one piece. A few of us girls are gonna, in August, do a weekend where we make drums. So we put drums together. Excuse me. So I'm gonna stitch, well, I wanna make drums out of both of these. I'm gonna stitch them separately, mostly because this is a full repeat. This one is a repeat with a couple of extra lines to make it match. This is slightly shorter, so for it to meet, this is actually a couple, about 4 rows shorter, I think. I'm going to stitch this one initially to make the drum, and then that one I'll make another drum once, you know. Oh, my voice. So we had a $10, many of us who subscribe to Spotlight would have got a $10 voucher to spend only yesterday at Spotlight. So of course I went and bought some floss. So I have, I went and got some extra floss to work on this piece. get my $10 worth, and I've made a couple of substitutions on the a couple of substitutions from the pattern. They didn't have any 666 in the store, so I just went, screw it, I'll change it to this one. So I've changed 666 to 3081. I changed, then because I changed that red, I didn't like the 720 that was next, the orange with it, so I changed that to 740. So it's meant to be 720, but I changed it because it didn't, the tones didn't work so well with the red I changed. 972 is charted, 919's charted, 831's charted, that's charted. The only other one I changed was the blue, which is called for 806, which they don't have. It's, I think, yeah, you don't have that at Spotlight anymore. I just went with a darker blue because I don't want that bluey blue. It's quite a bright blue, the 806, but I had 803. So I think they look quite nice. And I had, I'm gonna sneeze. Given that I'm gonna make this into a drum, I don't need a massive border. I had thought I might use this 32 count Belfast linen that I've got left over from a project, because I could fit the drums along there. I think they both actually would fit along here. One's a little bit narrower than the other, and they just wouldn't have a massive border. But this is kind of a weird green, and it kind of, I don't know. It's okay. They're quite full, so I just don't want. I would never want it on white anyway, But then I was like, you know what? I've got this 16 count bloody gilded opal fabric that I bought. This Mystic fabric thing. I'm just going to use that, I think, because I love this colour. I don't really love sparkly stuff, but I think that it would look quite cool. So I think the yellow would be alright on that. It'll be 2 strands, so it'll be nice and plump. So I think I'm going to use this, and this will be a start soon because I need to get at least one of those strips done, ready for August for us to make the drum. So look out for that soon. So that was just GMC, not very exciting. That's all the purchases. And only one other thing that came in, and I need to say thank you to Janet. I don't know if Janet watches my video, but she was a member of the New Zealand Cross Stitch Facebook group. So I put a call out for, as part of my 50-50 start, I'm going to start the Teresa Wentzler Seasons carousel horses. I've had these charts for a while. I only got winter recently because winter was only released back onto Patterns Online recently. But I love a Teresa Wentzler, I love a good blend. I'd always put off stitching these thinking, well, where would I hang them, what would I do with them? I'm just going to stitch these because they're beautiful and I've always wanted to stitch them. They're ones I had circled back in the 90s in the brochures that I wanted to get, but I didn't have any money because I was a poorly bank worker with a student loan. So yeah, I've got summer. I should take the thing out. I've got them all printed. So I've got summer, spring, winter, and autumn. So I went through my stash and I had some of the, like these are threads that I needed that I would have had in my stash because I've stitched a few things with Krennic. But what I didn't have was, I think, autumn. So summer and winter don't have any, sorry, summer and spring don't have any sparkle, but winter and autumn do, or fall. But was a BF Blenny Filament 42, and this was discontinued a few years ago. So I put a call out in search of, and Janet came to my rescue and she dropped it off today. Now I know Janet works at Crafty Kiwis in Masterton, Crafty with a K Kiwis. So if they have a wee store, looks like they sell a bit of Aida and Lugana, kind of pre-cut pieces. They have quite a few Mill Hill charts, Mill Hill kits on their website, but they invite you to ask them if you need to get anything in. But yeah, so I thought I'll give them a shout out. Head over to Crafty Kiwis if you're in the area, or have a look at their website. You might find a wee chart or something that you've been looking for. So I appreciate her. She basically bought that with her. She bought that for me, and she said it was the last one they had in store. So I really appreciate that. I'm going to pay that forward at some stage because that's just very kind of her. So yay, I have BF42. So that came my way. And I do have a couple of beads still to get for one of these. I can't remember. But other than that, just fabric and DNC. So that's also in the list. Right. That is what I've had coming in. It's been just 29 minutes. I've got a little bit of stitching to show you, just a couple of things that I worked on this week, because I'm really focused on, I need to get some finishes done. Now, earlier in the week, I had been thinking about whether I would destash this or like just UFO this, but I really, really do want to finish it. So I picked up my Stitch Collectibles Fractal 95 bookmark. That's what it's meant to look like. It's on my floss. And I gave this a good old chunk of effort. Pretty much all of the orange is new and the black that's up here. Some of these sprinkly bits in here is new. So I had that black in. But I had some of the yellow in here, but the rest of the orange is new orange, and then the little pink bubbles that are coming in there. So I had a good go at it. I'm in this, obviously this middle section. It's a few little loose ones to come down here, but I decided I'm working on the big bubbly bits and all the black, because that goes quite quick. And then when I come back and do the confetti, I'll have more places so I can try and finish a thread rather than do 3 stitches and they go, oh, well, there's nothing till, you know, up here. But if I've got all of the foundation in with these big swirls, I can just work my way, pick a thread of confetti, work my way up, pick a thread of confetti, work my way up. So, yeah, I just decided I do want to finish it, so I gave that a bit of love. I'm sort of so close to, getting close to half-ish that I should just finish it. It's a lot of stitching in it though. Speaking of a lot of stitching, you may recall I worked on Sunrise. Nope, I worked on Sunset a few weeks ago. Well, I picked up Sunrise and I gave it a bit of love. I need to email Carolyn, just let her know there is actually a mistake in the pattern, which you can see in the chart right in the centre, because I'm working in the centre bit here. There's a blue one here where it should be a mauve, and this is sort of, this colour here that's the wrong colour. That colour is supposed to be where that blue one is, and that colour is meant to be a different colour. So I just found it, because I'm working in that whole centre bit, it's very obvious when it's not symmetrical. So I need to email her and just let her know. She may have fixed it in the more recent, because I bought these quite soon after they were released. So it may have been fixed since, but anyway. I am probably very close to having a quarter done because I haven't quite finished. No, I'm definitely over a quarter. So I was about here last time. So I got all of this done. So there's still a few gaps in there. So I was hoping to finish this centre bit this morning, but then Dad called and I talked to him for quite a while, and then he's doing good, by the way. He happened to be visiting the home this week with my stepmother, who's, you know, having some, she's okay. She's not okay, but she's okay. And they were all the residents at the Hopi Beach Care were getting their first vaccine jabs, so they did Dad as well. So he's had his first vaccine, which he's very thrilled about. So he'll get the follow-up in a couple of weeks. And I'm very happy that because he was probably not going to get it till June at his local sort of GP, but he happened to be there and they had enough and his arm was there, so he got jabbed. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. So you can't really see the gaps. There's a few gaps in here and there's a few little gaps down here. But yeah, here's the centre, obviously through here. So I've definitely got, apart from these, it's like two little, there's like a couple of little spots there, I can feel them there and there. Those things should be done to call it this whole quarter done. They're yeah, anyway, I'm really happy with it. It's pretty quick to stitch because it's, the shapes are so regular, and you know, you pick a frost colour, because I'm sort of working, you know, I was working from here, and you know, I did everything symmetrical. Now that once I got this bit done, you know, I can work this way, and this way. So I could kind of get all these 3/4, because I don't start in the centre, just how I am, but yeah. It's a bit of a nuisance because the chart's so massive, but I enjoy it. But anyway, I'll put it away for a bit because, you know, it's had 3 or 4 days on it. And that is, so the Fractal was just on 18 count Aida. Sunrise is on 20 count Aida Soleil from Tom and Lily Creations, an Etsy store and they're in France. That's my stitching. So yeah, just the full coverage Aida pieces today. I don't know what I'm going to pick up tonight. I don't know what's really talking to me. We shall see. But I'll pick up something tonight, and quite like the Sunday changing of the projects. Stitch on 2 or 3 things, put them away. So yeah, I'll find something else. But that's pretty much it. So yeah, a little bit of too much shopping. There are still a few things on their way to me. I need to kind of stop spending money for a few months, for at least a month. But you know, all the pretty things. I think I've done my fair share of supporting the community this week, this year. But yeah, I'm enjoying kitting up the projects, and I have enough that I can start. I've got enough projects fully kitted that I could start easily for a couple of months. I'll be good. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for your time. I'm going to cut this off. Stop rabbiting on. As always, don't let your needles rust. Ciao.